All right.
Dude,
Here we are.
we went from a 1 month hiatus to a 2 week hiatus,
Yes,
but we're back.
we are back. We
A
made
lot
it.
lots of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Ayrton had a baby,
Yep.
and my daughter Anissa got married.
Yeah, dude.
So it was a crazy 2 weeks.
Life comes at you fast, kind
all
of
at
moment.
once, too.
Yeah.
And we survived.
Yes.
We're here, and
Yes.
nothing burned down. So,
No.
but what are you playing with right now? So this is super interesting. We haven't talked. We were talking about Lambda a few weeks
Yeah.
ago, but this is something completely different.
Yeah. So there's. I should know the name of this stuff, but it's basically AI created art or imagery. And so, anyway, we've got access to the Midjourney version, which I want to say Midjourney. Should know a little bit about this, but I think it's like an open source AI group, and they basically
you're
wrote a
running
bot
it
for
on it's running on Discord.
Yeah,
right
it runs
now.
on Discord, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, so they give you access to just sort of give it different prompts.
So we're seeing basically in real time art that's being generated on the fly
Yeah.
by random people that are just telling the bot what to create.
Yeah, and you can
And we
see
just
what other
tried it
people are
ourselves.
doing. Yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah, so I had Nate put Back to the Future dark,
Yes.
and this here, it spit out this image right here.
There you go. Like magic, yes.
Like magic. It's kind of unreal. I mean, it's dark.
Yes.
It's got a little bit of the Blade Runner feel to it.
Yes.
Maybe because it said dark.
It's yes.
It definitely, that top right image has DeLorean lines or aesthetic to it, which it figured out. And then, I mean, the font is the most obvious.
Right.
And neon, like
Yeah.
it had a little bit of that retro.
Yeah, it's kind of like if Back to the Future went like Blade Runner.
Yeah.
You know?
Which is crazy. And it did it in, I don't know, 30 seconds,
Yeah.
45 seconds,
Yeah.
something like that.
It's fascinating, right?
That is pretty nuts.
And so everyone's kind of like finding ways to sort of tweak it and sort of, you can look at some of the prompts here.
Yeah.
Some of them work out better than others.
Yeah, I saw some, you can tell that the style, like cartoon drawing,
Yeah.
3D or Van Gogh, like you can reference an artist's style. It'll spit it out. So it begs the question, and I've heard debate around this, will this ever be smart enough to replace an actual designer?
Well, see,
Could you tell it,
dude,
use the this brand and build me a landing page,
yeah, so,
or build me an ad?
right. Well, there's a whole collection you can see online what people will do, like they call it like the Nike chicken. So they'll put in Nike chicken and like it'll make a chicken out of a shoe, sort of stuff like that. So you can see brands are started to kind of like get into that space a little bit. And then the way it also, what's interesting too, I'm just looking at some of the other entries. People are already asking it to do logos. So, I mean, here, like.
Oh, and you put a Sightbox one, right?
Yeah.
The other day.
So I'll show you here some Sightbox logo options.
Yeah.
Designed by Midjourney. They didn't make the cut, though, unfortunately.
No, they didn't make the cut.
It was a
But
nice
did you
try.
put monochrome, or that thing just did it on its own? Because it came back black and white.
Came black and white. I think I just wrote Sightbox logo. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to try it again just out of curiosity if it's learned something else.
Yeah.
All right.
But answer my question. Do you think this can ever be smart enough to...
I don't know how it's generating these images. That's what's creepy about it. Like,
And I don't mean like replace what we do,
right.
but what if you're just, Larry with the plumbing shop and you need
Right.
a flyer and you just
Dude.
like type in...
Like, that's like the future of Canva. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Is like
just tell it what to do.
just gonna have a conversation. So
Right.
this brings up the other thing we were talking about earlier too, which is the sort of the gold rush they're expecting to go into. What is it called? natural language processing.
NLP.
NLP.
Yeah.
So Google had, if you guys remember, they had a keynote presentation.
And this was years ago, wasn't it?
It was like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
It was pre-COVID. And they had this conversation with Google talking to like a nail salon to book an appointment, or for a restaurant for pickup. And it was so crazy because you heard Google talking, like it was one of the Google voices, but it would have like, hello, or, it would just have these mannerisms that are completely human. And you wouldn't be able to distinguish at that point. Like, it wasn't robotic. And it kept up with the conversation. So they did that demo, and apparently, like, it caused quite a stir. I mean, it was in the news and all this kind of stuff, but I think it kind of gave everybody pause, and they're like, whoa. The feedback wasn't 100% great. People are like, that's kind of creepy. So they kind of cooled it a little bit, but now they're starting to introduce it. So it's sort of in some beta launches. I think I was telling you it's on the Google Maps app, where you can actually use it to book reservations at restaurants.
So you map the restaurant you want to go to, and then you, instead of call, which the call button's there in Google Maps, the bot would call.
Yeah, it says book, or whatever.
Book, but this place, let's say, doesn't do online or has a different option. It would actually call the restaurant and interact with the employee to make sure that your reservation or whatever you tell it. Yeah. With what they call natural language, which is speaking like a human.
Yes.
Pauses and ums.
And hearing like a human, sort of making sense. Because when you listen to it too, it's following along. Like, they're asking a question like, do you need to know this? And like, yes. And then they give, so there's like it strings along in the conversation. What's interesting about it is sort of like a edge. It's not like they're trying to solve everything with voice, but they're saying, look, in this one instance, can we get a transaction, an order or a reservation? And can we get that working really well? Because they're short conversations, 30 seconds or so,
So what's this gold rush then, if Google has this technology?
Well, because other people
open sourcing it?
Well, I think other people are starting to figure it out as well.
So other people are also working on similar technologies.
Yes, exactly. And so it's sort of reaching that point where, Google sort of, in Google's, how Google works is they'll sort of pioneer sort of a technology, but then they'll never really bring it to market. They'll just sort of like come up with it. And so what I think has happened is maybe after that keynote where everyone else is freaking out, other people were like, we got to jump on this, or and really bring something to market. So that's what's really happening is there's
well, imagine there's other use cases than just booking a damn restaurant.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Do you know that this new generation, and I can speak for my own children, they will not interact by voice with any place or any business of any sort.
They don't want to call.
No. Even as funny as it sounds, they would, like, if I make Sienna figure her own meal out, if we're doing delivery or whatever, she will refuse to call her favorite burger place just because a human's going to answer and say hello. Like, the anxiety of speaking to a human is so high that she would rather DoorDash something she wants less to not have to deal with calling.
Wow.
And that's just a Gen Z thing, perhaps. Maybe millennials don't like it either.
Right.
And then us, big deal, right? Just call the place and
right.
talk to somebody and get the answer you need. But even I'm finding myself in situations where I would rather chat with the bot or with the human on the chat than to actually call.
Yes.
Even if it takes longer in some cases.
Yeah.
Just because I'd rather be typing it out.
Yeah.
It's just more comfortable, and for whatever reason.
Dude, I had a similar thing actually over the weekend. So, or maybe it was on Friday. So I bought my dad some headphones, some Wise headphones, noise canceling. They're great headphones. But they stopped working. And so my dad's thing was like, he's like, I called Wise, talked to their tech support, but I didn't know exactly what to do. So we got on a 3-way, and they're troubleshooting it, but you know how they do it. Like, they're going to run you through everything, right? Like, push this, push that. And I was just like, this is taking way too long. So I just told her, I was like, look, I bought these on Amazon. Just hold so I was like, let me just see something really quick. And I literally was on the phone with Wise, and I went into the Amazon thing and got a return label in 30 not even 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's so easy.
On, no questions asked. Like, so it's sort of like, I think there's some things will definitely advance through this sort of thing. I think, if you think about it too, like a lot of that, customer support sort of stuff, it is very scripted. It is very rote. But it would be really interesting to see if there's a way to sort of make that even better, right? So you can sort of say exactly what it is. Because oftentimes, you ask someone, you talk to tech support or something like that, they have to go and go, okay, what was that keyword you said? You said what? And then I'm going to look it up, and then it's going to give me a bunch of text prompts and options. But if it's AI, it already knows. So it's like it can just keep going. Like, oh yeah, press this button. You don't have to wait 30 seconds while it does its homework. Like, it's just going to go right to the next thing, Or it could say, oh yeah, we've been having problems. Can you give me the serial number? Oh yeah, we've had issues with that. Why don't you send it back? Like, it's like you're talking to the database. You're not talking to a human. It has to go and, go through it all.
Yep.
On some antiquated terminal. I mean, even think of the implications for people with speech issues, people who are even deaf, being able to sign and talk, even like, you'd look at, what's his name? Stephen Hawking, he always had that sort of robotic voice when he talked, or in his thing, and he liked it. He kind of grew accustomed to it. But I can see something like that where it sort of can start talking for people, and I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Next is going to be like what was it on Up, the talking dog collar?
Oh yeah.
You see that one? Yeah. So, but have you seen those things where they'll push the buttons and talk?
I have seen that.
Isn't that crazy?
What do you want, or what do you need?
Yeah, ball outside.
Yeah.
I tried.
That's crazy.
Dude, I was so impressed by that. I was like, I was going to get those for my son Noah. I was like, I'm just going to be like, food, bottle, diaper, and just hit the button, kid. If a 3-year-old Cocker Spaniel can do it, I know you can do it.
Noah's 7, by the way. Just kidding.
No, he's 3, and we are dealing with the potty training thing. So if anyone has any hints or tips.
No, I think that happens on its own. At some point, the kid's like,
enough.
This sucks.
Yeah.
This is dumb. Like, I don't want to be.
Yeah.
Not even 5 seconds.
Yeah.
No, they do it on their own.
Yeah. Well, he's home all week, so we got to. Well,
there you go.
Now's the time.
Yep. Cool. Well, then get that. What is it called? Midjourney?
Midjourney. We'll put up some pictures.
Yeah, maybe we'll.
I might actually put in a one of our assignments or one of our tickets. One of our design tickets, and be like, know. Can it handle it?
Can it do it?
Can you do a social post? I mean, honestly, that's where people are investing heavily in that.
It's got to be. I mean, imagine programming a style guide into a bot.
I mean, look, this thing's like drawing.
I just gave somebody a $1 billion idea right here.
Right.
Drop the style guide. Drop the typography, the colors, everything, and then just tell the bot, here's the headline, and then write something. Basically, write the rest.
Yeah.
And then make it in LinkedIn specs or whatever the heck you want.
I don't know why
it would take 30 seconds.
It would
give you like 5 options.
I mean, I'm looking at this stuff and I'm like, I mean, this would take an illustrator 8 hours to produce, and it just did it in like you said, like 30 seconds. Like, I can't imagine something that would normally take us like 45 minutes in Figma or Illustrator. It's gonna whip that thing out in like no time.
Almost instant.
Yeah, like while you watch.
Yep.
Now
imagine it spitting out like a Figma format, so you can just take it in and tweak it. But you just saved yourself however long, right?
Yeah.
Just setting it up. It goes back to, remember that AI, what was it, the Adobe thing that we were
playing
around
AI
with?
Adobe
Assistant.
Yes.
Something we totally made up for fun.
Yeah.
and how you were talking to it
Yes.
and telling it
I was telling it to make me a layout or
a
something.
layout or
yeah.
canvas, right? Just by voice,
Mhm.
and then all of a sudden your canvas is open and ready to go, and then make me a mobile
Yeah.
canvas,
Yeah.
and then boom,
Hey, we're ahead of our time.
it just saved you a few clicks.
Yeah.
right there.
Well, and it's funny because I can see a point where, I mean, dude, that's bringing it all together. It's you just talked about natural language processing, computer vision, all this stuff all in one. And be like, just draw. I'm going to have a conversation with it and it's just going to do it while I talk to it. Yeah, that's going to be the future. And honestly, you know what it's going to be? Our job, in a sense, as designers, is really going to be knowing how to control that component, right? I mean, it's almost like, I'm looking at this stuff and you can tell like people are starting to try to figure out different styles and different looks. And at a certain point, someone's going to have a style that they've developed through this AI that's completely unique, and they're going to sell prints of this thing. Like it's
for sure.
They're going to be like
NFTs,
an artist,
man.
Yeah, they're going to be an artist. Yeah, exactly. They're going to be an artist that doesn't draw. They just know how to get beautiful art out of a computer by just typing it, having a conversation with it. That's crazy, and that's going to happen.
Dude, I remember when I was a kid and I got my first computer. It was a Tandy.
Dude.
Do you remember these things?
Yes.
From Radio Shack?
Yes.
I stayed up all night playing with this thing. You would connect this thing to your tube,
Yes.
RCA,
Yes.
and it came with a book with commands.
Uh-huh.
But it would show you a sample art piece, like a spiral or whatever it was. And then so you would tell you each line item, like each command or line of code. And you'd have to do it exact or it wouldn't work. And then you'd have to go back and see where you screwed up. So you're just sitting there punching in all this stuff. And then at the end, you did boom.
Hit the button.
And then you get the drawing or whatever. But man, it just some of that reminds me of and that was like 80s, bro. Like a long time ago.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Who'd think, right?
Who would have thought?
Anyway.
Cool.
Well, there we go. Future's coming.
Future.
That's good.
Catch you on the next one.
Yeah.
Awkward ending. Goodbye.